Hello, fellow rebel capitalists. Hope you're well. So, unfortunately, in the news today, WorldCoin. I don't know if you've heard about this, but WorldCoin just went live. And in case you were not concerned with the direction the world is headed, that should change today. In fact, I don't want to be hyperbolic, but we'll get into this story in just a moment. But this should absolutely scare the hell out of you. Period. End of story. And if this doesn't scare the hell out of you, you're not paying attention. You got your head buried in the sand. That's just the bottom line. So let's get into this story. Check this out. What I did is I'm going to go to their webpage here because I want to hear it, or I want to hear what this is from them. I don't want to try to take anything out of context, or I don't want any editorial. I want to hear in their own words. But before I go to the website, I want to point out here, because most of you might just, if you've heard of this, you might be thinking that it's just kind of an Orwellian type of cryptocurrency. You're just looking at the tip of the iceberg, my friend. Here, you may say, George, well, I thought it was a cryptocurrency. What's this round ball thing? Oh, well, that is what they call an orb. And you may say, George, well, what the hell is an orb? Again, I thought this was a cryptocurrency. Right, but in order to have the cryptocurrency, you have to go down to your local orb, or maybe in the future it can just show up at your house, and they do an iris biometric scan. And this is how you get your WorldCoin. And you get it for just being human. If this sounds bizarre, insane, Orwellian, if this sounds like your nightmare, well, let's go over to their website and check it out. Now, one thing I want to mention before we proceed, and most of you guys know this from watching my videos, but some of you might be newer to the channel. One thing I'm always critical about with the World Economic Forum, the BIS, the central planners, is how vague they speak. And it's to the point where whenever someone speaks like this, I'm immediately skeptical. Like the spidey senses go up, and whether it's right or wrong, I just don't trust them. Whenever one speaks in these terms that are, again, I call it World Economic Forum speak, or Klaus speak, where there's a lot of words, but they don't say anything. They're talking, again, but they're not saying anything. Like they could talk for 2 hours, and you're sitting there scratching your head and saying, what? I don't get it. Like, what did he didn't even say anything. Whenever I hear someone talk like this, or a group or an entity, I immediately associate them with the World Economic Forum. And again, whether it's right or wrong, I don't trust them. So let's go into introducing WorldCoin from their website, worldcoin.org. And I want to also remind you that this was created by a guy named Sam Altman, who also created one of the AI businesses. I can't recall which one it is. I could probably go over to my Twitter feed here real quick. Actually, let me do that for you. I don't know why there's an X there. It would be OpenAI.
Twitter, George. It would be open.
Okay, so OpenAI is this guy Sam Altman. He started this business, and again, it's almost like the firefighter and the arsonist are one and the same, because his argument for WorldCoin is because we're going to have AI and it's going to blow up, and then therefore we need this WorldCoin. But it's like, yeah, but didn't you create the AI? You created the problem, and now you're also creating the solution. But let's get into how they describe this WorldCoin, which again, this is not in the future. This went live today. As we speak, July 24th, this is officially live. More than 3 years ago, when we founded WorldCoin with the ambition of creating a new identity and financial network owned by everyone. Huh? See, we start off immediately. The very first sentence is in Klaus speak. The rollout begins today. If successful, we believe WorldCoin will drastically increase economic opportunity, scale a reliable solution for distinguishing humans from AI online while preserving privacy, enable global democratic processes, and eventually show a path or potential path to AI-funded UBI. So we've got them combining a global digital identity where you have to get your iris scanned by the orb, and a cryptocurrency, and AI, and UBI. All in one thing. And like I said on Twitter, I don't know if you could create something that I would like less. Or I don't know if you could create something that sounds worse. Going back to their article, WorldCoin consists of privacy-preserving digital entity. Wow. Yeah, I can see how this is definitely going to preserve your privacy. By going down and getting your iris scanned by the local orb, obviously, I mean, that is, it just screams privacy. And they're kind of, and again, this is exactly what Klaus does as well, or the World Economic Forum. Where they will start with a blog post that sounds rather benign, like you're kind of on the fence. You're like, well, I don't know. I'm all about preserving privacy, and if they do that digitally, if it's a private company, well, I don't know. Maybe that doesn't sound too bad. But as you read further and further and further down the article, then they start to present the things that horrify anyone who's interested in freedom, liberty, and free market capitalism or privacy. But it's the same method where at the beginning, it sounds kind of vanilla, kind of benign, but as you get further and further, read more and more details and more facts, if they give them to you, then you start connecting the dots. It gets scarier and scarier and scarier to the point where you're done, you're like, whoa, no, I don't want anything to do with this. Let's get back to the article. WorldCoin consists of privacy-preserving digital identity, World ID, and where laws allow digital currency, then this digital currency that they set up is called WLD, and it's trading right now on Binance, received simply for being human. Again, here they go back to Klaus speak. So let me say that again. WorldCoin consists of privacy-preserving digital identity, and where laws allow a digital currency received simply for being human. We hope that where the rules are less clear, such as the United States, steps will be taken so more people can benefit from both. You can now download World App, the first protocol-compatible wallet, and reserve your share after visiting an orb. I'm not making this up. Josh, I'm sure you can see it. The viewers might not be able to see it, but I'm literally reading that. I'm not making that up. After visiting an orb, a biometric verification device, you'll receive a World ID. This lets you prove you are real and unique person online while remaining completely private. As a global distribution of orbs is ramping up, you can find the closest one and book time to be verified with the World app at worldcoin.org. So as soon as this live stream is over, guys, definitely go straight to worldcoin.org, download the app ASAP, because you're going to want to book your time to visit the nearest orb so you can get your retina scanned by that creepy, to say the least, round-looking device that we saw at the beginning of this live stream, for your privacy, of course. WorldCoin is an attempt at global scale alignment. The journey will be challenging and outcomes uncertain, but finding new ways to broadly share the upcoming technological prosperity is critical challenge of our future. We hope you'll join us. So, again, after reading this, how many of you would say, oh, yeah, I get it. I know what that is. Probably no one. I'm like, huh? What? How does this work? So what I did is I went to their white paper. Now, I haven't read this word for word. I just briefly scanned it. I wanted to do that actually live with you guys on stream. So let's check this out. Let's go to WorldCoin white paper. So WorldCoin was founded with a mission of creating globally inclusive. So let's stop right there. Whenever you hear someone, let's go back to 2020. Whenever you've heard someone use the term inclusive as though it's something we want to strive for, have they been a good guy or a bad guy? Let's just make things as simple as possible. They have been a bad guy. I can answer that question for you. This is straight from Klaus's script. Who has been talking about inclusivity? World Economic Forum, UN, EU, BIS, IMF, Justin Trudeau, Joe Biden, Larry Fink, the guy that I really dislike with Salesforce, Benioff. All these clones, all these global elite, all the basically the Malthusian cult, the Marxist Malthusian cult that we talk about on this channel all the time. They're the ones that push this inclusivity thing. We need to make things inclusive. So the fact that they are starting off their white paper with this term, again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but the hair on the back of my neck stands up, and I don't trust them as far as I can throw them. Now, I want to try to remain objective, but I'm just telling you my first thoughts. So, a mission of creating a globally inclusive identity and financial network owned by the majority of humanity. You just can't make this up. I mean, I'm going to keep reading here, but just imagine writing a white paper based on a business idea that you have and using these types of words. I mean, it's almost like this is a joke, like it's some sort of parody. I saw someone on Twitter saying this is so ridiculous, it's almost like he's trolling. Let's get back to the paper. If successful, WorldCoin could considerably increase economic opportunity, scale, and reliable solution for distinguishing humans from AI online while preserving privacy, enable global democratic processes, and show a potential path. Okay, we talked about that. About AI-funded UBI. I don't know how they get there, but okay. WorldCoin consists of private. Okay, we talked about that. Now they're using the here. Check out this sentence: World ID and WLD, which is their cryptocurrency, are currently complemented by World App, the first front end to World ID and the World Coin protocol developed by the contributor team at Tools for Humanity. And this is creepy on a whole new level. Proof of personhood, quote unquote, is one of the core ideas behind WorldCoin and refers to establishing an individual as both human and unique. You know what? I don't need the orb to know that someone is human and unique. I don't need an orb to do that. I don't need a retinal scan. I don't need any biometric information. All I need to do is go up to them, say hello, look them in the eye, and shake their hand. In fact, I don't even have to do that. All I have to do is see them in real life, for heaven's sakes. I mean, and I get that this is all for the internet, which, granted, does have a problem with bots and whatnot. But, you know, at a certain point, and I'm not a technophobe. I'm in favor of the internet and all the wonderful productivity that it allows us to have. And the fact that I can even talk to you over this live stream right now is incredible. But at a certain point, you have to start asking yourself, are the costs outweighing the benefits? I'm not saying they are, but I actually think it's something that we should start to discuss. Let's keep going on. Once established, it gives the individual the ability to assert they are a real person and different from other real persons without having to reveal their real world identity. So how does this work? You're able to go online and prove that you're you without revealing your real world identity. How? And they say, oh, well, George, that's simple. All you have to do is just get your retina scanned by the orb. And then your retinal scan just follows you everywhere on the internet. And then you don't have to give your real world identity or your phone number. Right. But I've got to give you my retinal scan, for heaven's sakes. Today, proof of personhood is an unsolved problem on a global scale, making it difficult to vote online. Because that's really difficult. How about once a year you just get in your damn car and go down to a local Walmart and just vote? I mean, is it that big of a problem? The problem is even more pressing as increasingly powerful AI models will further amplify the difficulty distinguishing humans from bots. As successful as part of WorldCoin, World ID could become a global proof of personhood standard. And here we go, number 2. Once again, scalable and inclusive proof of personhood. I'm not going to read all this. I want to scan it for the sake of time here. World ID is privacy preserving proof of personhood. It enables users to verify their humanness online while maintaining their privacy through zero-knowledge proofs via a custom biometric device called the orb. The orb has been designed based on the realization that custom biometric hardware might be the only long-term viable solution to issue AI-safe proof of personhood verification. World IDs are issued on the WorldCoin protocol, which allows an individual to prove they are human to any verifier while maintaining their privacy, zero-knowledge proofs. In the future, it should be possible to issue other credentials on the protocol as well. So, again, to make sure that we're all on the same page here, what you guys need to realize is they're expecting you to download the app, go down to your local orb device that they control, of course, let it scan your retina, and then somehow they attach that retinal scan to your online identity So in their minds, that allows you to navigate the internet anonymously. I mean, this is absolute. So now we got world token. While network effects will ultimately come from useful applications being built on top of financial and identity infrastructure, the token is issued to all network participants to align their incentives around the growth of the network. This is especially important early on to bootstrap the network bypass. I mean, this is exactly like Minority Report. I mean, this is getting into a sci-fi movie right now, where they're expecting you to give your retinal scan so you can navigate the internet, but eventually, of course, they're going to want your retinal scan for you to do anything, because your medical information, whether or not you've had a medicine that might have been mandated, your social score, your climate score, all of this will be on your digital ID, let's say your world ID. And you're going to have to, every single time that you go down to get on a bus or get on an airplane, you're just going to have to scan your retina. And you're just going to have to look into the little eye thing. It's going to scan it. It's going to be just like a sci-fi movie, exactly like Minority Report, or even worse. This is basically a real life episode of Black Mirror. That's what we're dealing with here. So you go down to buy anything, you go down to your Chipotle, and this is that proof of the point of sale software that I've always talked about, the CBDC, that before you order, even if you're paying with cash, you have to scan your retina, or I was thinking of a fingerprint, but I guess they'll just have an orb in every single Chipotle or every single checkout line. And instead of the register will now just have an orb on it, where you have to scan your face or your retina. They know who you are. Then you pay however you want. Go ahead and pay with Bitcoin. Go nuts. But they still know exactly what you're buying based on your digital ID, your world ID that follows you everywhere. World app is the front end. How does WorldCoin work? WorldCoin revolves around World ID, a privacy-preserving global network. Using World ID, individuals will be able to prove that they are real, unique humans. This will enable fair airdrops, provide protection against bots. World ID can also enable global democratic process and may eventually support a path to AI-funded UBI. So I'm not sure where they're going with that. But my guess is that they believe AI is going to take all the jobs. And when AI takes all the jobs, there will still be productivity and people will still have currency, but they'll get it in the form of UBI, and they can just have their UBI attached to, they don't even have to have a bank account. They can just have their UBI attached to their World ID based on their retina scan. And then since you have to scan your retina for everything, then to pay for things, you can just scan your retina as well with your UBI that's issued by them in the form of WorldCoin for all the productivity that the AI is doing, because no one needs to have a job anymore. I think that's kind of where they're going with this. Which, I mean, imagine that world. If no human being had to work, it was all just AI robots. And I think about the level of depression in that world. We sit here and talk about all these things that have benefited our lives, all these technological advances over the last 20 years. But are people happier? Or are they absolutely miserable? In fact, one of the things that I've learned from traveling so much is I go into these super poor areas in Colombia eventually, or occasionally, excuse me, when I'm driving up to the lake or, do something like this. And you go to one of these towns where the average annual income is probably $2,000 a year or something like that. And these people are happy, they're smiling, they're dancing, they're listening to music, they're out there on Sundays with the whole family, they're doing barbecues outside. They're not online. They're not in the metaverse. They don't even know what it is. They don't even care. Are they sitting there on Twitter? Are they sitting there on Facebook? Are they sitting there on TikTok? No. They all have smartphones, but they're engaging with other human beings in real life, for heaven's sakes. And then I contrast that when I go to the United States, the quote unquote richest country on earth, where the average income is, let's say, $40,000, $50,000 a year. And everyone is miserable. Everyone is on drugs. Everyone is depressed. There's school shootings on a daily basis, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I go there and nobody is outside. Everyone is inside. And if they are outside, they're sitting there looking straight down at their cell phone the whole time, not even acknowledging that other people exist. Are they out there interacting with other humans? Are they singing? Are they dancing? Are they doing it? Maybe, but only if they're on drugs. Because if they're not on drugs, then they're right back to their cell phone because they got to get that dopamine hit. I mean, I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but I think we need to have a very serious conversation with ourselves, with our family, and with the people that we care about as to, what is our objective here in the future? Is it just to incorporate as much technology as we possibly can for the sake of being productive? And I think that's debatable. Or is it to be happy? Because if it's to be happy, my guess is the orb won't do that. My guess is the orb will make things worse, not better. When you look at things on net balance, cost-benefit analysis, right? What are the benefits? What are the costs? In this case, I would argue the costs will most likely way outweigh the benefit. And let's just assume for a moment that Sam Altman's a straightforward guy. Let's say he's Ron Paul. Great, fantastic. But think about what you're doing here. Think about how dangerous something like this would be if the world evolves in this direction, if the world changes this way, to where what I was talking about with this sci-fi movie where you've got to scan your retina for everything, right? And they know who you are, they know where you're going, they're tracking you at all times. I mean, think about that world. And then think about the costs, think about the benefits. Is that something you really want to be a part of? Quite frankly, I would far rather deal with the inefficiencies of just using cash than go through this stuff and have to scan my eyeball every single time I leave the house. I mean, this is not a world I want to live in. I don't know about you. All right, guys, there you go. I mean, scary, scary, scary stuff here. It's like I always say, every single night I go to bed and say, well, the good news is it can't get any crazier. And then I wake up in the morning, I read the news, and then I realize that I was wrong. So, unfortunately, I don't have any solutions for you. I don't have any answers. I just wanted to present this to you. I'm going to need some time to think it through and determine what the risks are here, and try to figure out how to navigate, because it seems like this is the direction the world is headed. And you can either be a part of this, or you can choose to unplug and just have the best quality of life possible. So the question becomes, how do you unplug from this insanity and continue to maintain your standard of living? I don't know the answer, but I'm going to be giving it a lot of thought. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your afternoon. As always, make sure that you're standing up for freedom, liberty, free market capitalism. See you on the next video.